A 90.9 The Bridge session from the Boulevard Tours and Rec Center. Please welcome Katy Guillen and The Drive.
You know, the pandemic just seems like a perfect time for uncertainty and insecurity. I mean, it's just, what good timing you have, Katy.
Yeah, I know. How that really worked out. No.
Well, I do think that one of the things that sort of impresses me about this project is that, you may have had that uncertainty, but you were pretty sure-footed about wanting to find that next thing and taking those next steps and being determined to keep moving.
Yeah, I find it really hard to sit still, and there's just, you don't want to stop. Like when you're in something that you love doing, it's just, I didn't want to really have downtime, I guess, and I'd taken a lot of time. I felt like that I needed to write and to reflect on what I wanted to do with Steph next. And so, you have to just keep moving. And then I think you kind of you find your footing as you go. But I was in such a good spot with Steph, like having that foundation and that connection already established was really, that's like the starting off point,
So the pandemic was about live streaming and songwriting and doing some demos. But how hard was it after having been in a 4-piece or 3-piece, 4-piece, to all of a sudden find that sound where you could perform as just the two of you?
It took some trying out with, experimenting with some of the recording techniques and some of the technological hurdles that playing with tracks kind of presents. But it was more really out of necessity than anything. Coming out of the pandemic, being an independent touring band was not easy. And so we had to kind of find the most logistical way to go about it. And that was just in this sort of, very stripped down format. And then it's great. Whenever we can have other musicians join us, it's wonderful and we welcome it, but it was really more of a necessity for travel and all of the logistics that go with, playing out of town and on the road. So, yeah.
I think it's just a phenomenal record. It's another one gained. It's coming out this Friday, and we'd love to hear some music if we could.
Okay, awesome.
I feel it coming without regard, straight for my chair. I'm open-minded to the heaviness. Nothing I can learn from any law, just so you can get to know we're all shedding, always shedding, trying to make a mess. I'm working hard on this new skin. Rid me of the poison in the show. Let me really get to know. In the bottom of my belly, sinking so low. Nothing like a beat in the bottom of your belly, hear it. Oh, everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. I feel it burning. Another demon trying to get my back. Whatever's left, I need to keep this fortress sound. Well, let it crumble to the ground. I hear it seething, impatient breathing, ready to jump and suffocate my best intentions. But take it easy, take it slow. Let me really get to know. In the bottom of your belly, sinking so low. Nothing like a beat in the bottom of your belly, hear it. Oh, Nothing like a beat in the bottom of a very singing solo. Nothing like a beat in the bottom of a very singing solo. Nothing like a beat in the bottom of a very Guillen. Oh, everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
Thank you.
Katy Guillen and the drive today from the Boulevard Tours and Rec Center on the Bridge, and of course Stephanie Williams. So great to hear you play drums. I just absolutely love that. So, you know, I started listening to the record and watching the videos before I did any reading. And I'm watching the video for Bottom of Your Belly. It's like, man, this sure looks like Thelma and Louise. Oh, wait a second. This is Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I like you both so much. I spent the rest of the video going, please don't go over the cliff. Please don't drive off the cliff.
Right. Yeah, we couldn't quite figure out how to do that stunt, so we thought we'd just leave it up to the imagination.
It's always nice to see a little Avondale, a little
Yeah.
KCK in there as well.
Yeah, we were in KCK, and then just like at 45 minutes south in Missouri, and off of a farm of the director, our friend Katam Jabir, who directed it. So it was fun. It was fun. We had a absolute blast filming that video.
Oh, and that car.
I know.
That car belongs in a museum.
I know. It still it drove really well. It was, I have to say, it was a lot of fun to drive. So
yeah. I want to say that song is pretty indicative of what I was talking about, in that, it really, and this is your song, so you get to tell me that I'm just crazy, whatever, right? But it's just about, pushing past, the fear of, change, and just embracing change and moving forward.
Yeah, you pretty much 100% got it. I mean, I wrote that song when I was feeling pretty lost and kind of desperate, and it's really just like a digging deep down and coming to terms with that very uncomfortable feeling that you can just get in the bottom of your stomach. I think it's like such a normal, visceral feeling that everyone gets, and it just, that's what that song's about, just pushing through it and trying to feel better.
Yeah. And just to be, we had so many people talking about mental health over the last couple of years, and I think it's because, during the pandemic, it's like if you didn't have moments like those moments, like you weren't paying attention.
Right. Yeah, how could you not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you talked about being an independent touring musician, and you all are making your music your job, which is like daunting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it's a
serious
challenge.
stuff. Right. And you kind of, I'm sure you went through it in your head and said, well, if we do this and we do that, we can do this. And then, Vanny breaks down.
Vanny.
Vanny, how long did you have Vanny?
We got Vanny in 2016, and pretty much have been taking her across the country nonstop ever since. I mean, minus 2020 and part of 2021, but yeah, we've had her for a while. And she just very recently, transmission went out. So
have you worked out your issues?
We haven't figured out what to do with her yet. Well, we've pivoted. We've, again, going back to the duo thing, which is, thankfully we can perform this way because we've managed to fit all of this stuff into Steph's Jeep Patriot. And then we got like a little bag for the rooftop to put our suitcases in. And we just went on like a 2-week run with the Jeep Patriot, and it worked out. And, it's a very tight pack, but the show must go on. We couldn't.
Can I just take a stab at this and say that the rear view mirror probably is of no use?
Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah, no, we help each other out. We're always like, hey, am I good back there? Am I good back?
So all of the hours that you spend in a vehicle like that, do you just spend it like naming the vehicle and naming other things? I know you have a name for your guitar. Like you have multiple guitars, right? Like
Yeah.
how many of them are named?
I guess all of them really. This one is Otila, and the other one I have, the yellow ASAT, that's Butter, and yeah, I do name things. I like to name things. It's yeah.
So
Like,
I
personalize
didn't
it.
invoke that name because I wasn't sure how to pronounce it or where it came from or what it meant.
Oh yeah, it's my grandmother on my dad's side. Mm-hmm.
Very
It's
nice.
short. Tila is short for Otila. So.
You know, I know that you know, this album comes out on Friday, and I've had a chance to. Thanks for letting me listen to it early.
Of
It's just a phenomenal record. It's your most fully realized music yet. Your most personal. You should be really proud of it. The other people that have gotten a glimpse of this, the early reviews. I'm sure that you were really taken aback when somebody compared your songwriting to Katy Guillen.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I love Katy Guillen, so that's definitely a huge compliment, you know, and very humbling because I'm a big fan of hers. So
Yeah. The name of the album
Yeah.
is Another One Gained. It comes out this Friday, and the album release show is Friday the 26th at Knuckleheads. And we'd love to hear another song if we could.
awesome. All right.
It's a hard realization to come to. I stayed too long, and my eyes were shut so tight. All of a sudden, I was shooting down the rapids. I didn't notice when or how it happened. I am glassy-eyed in the front seat. Watch the tail lights disappear. There's no resolution in a decision, just a paralyzing fear of the pain that I will cause others, and the truth that has been uncovered. Break the silence. I wanted something different. It was time to name it, make the move to change it, to survive.
Katy and Stephanie, Katy Guillen, and The Drive today on the bridge. I'm really about like looking to the future. So just set up the past really quickly and move on. Mm-hmm. You had a relationship that ended. You had a band that ended. Mm-hmm. The pandemic hit. Right. Like crazy, right? So you were doing a lot of journaling to sort of get through all of that. And I wondered how much the journaling sort of affected the songwriting.
I journaled, and then I also just kind of sat down and wrote songs. I journal and I write like at the same time. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I took a few days there in 2018, like right as the band was about to play our last show, and just went out to a cabin over at Table Rock Lake and just like unplugged everything and sat down and just wrote a bunch of songs and kind of got a lot of what's on this album out then. And then like it just kept coming out, through the next couple of years with stuff. We kind of started to like fine tune some of that stuff. And then the pandemic too, we wrote a little bit more. And I mean, it's just, writing is like an ongoing process. It's like always happening in your head, or at least for me, it happens when we're on the road, and happens when we're sitting still, so yeah, journaling definitely took part in that, but it's just like one of those things that's like the gears are always kind of going in a way, you know, especially during emotional times,
right.
And changing times. So,
and again, this is just me projecting. So tell me if I'm wrong, but songs like Discoloration and also Set in Stone, those songs were started when you were in that emotional grind. But then you came back and added to those songs after you were in a better place. And I think it kind of gave those songs like an arc. Yeah. Right? There's a beginning and there's an end. There's a resolution. Yes. I was thinking about some of the albums about emotional upheaval that I listened to when I was a teenager, and I probably would have been a lot better off if they would have shown a little bit of growth instead of just being sad throughout, right?
Right. Yeah. I think I'm really glad that you caught that, and I think that it's something that shines through in those songs especially, and in a couple of other ones on the album. But I think, it definitely helps to have that balance, to like, showcase that like, oh, this is a very raw emotion. It's okay to be honest, and it's okay to tap into that darkness and that inner, whatever it is that you're dealing with. But then how did you get to the other side? Because usually it's a journey, and, it was nice that we had the time. I will say probably one of the only good things from the pandemic was that we had just so much time to really explore the songs and to sit down with them and add things like a bridge that maybe adds a nice like light arc to the song that it didn't have before, and it is easier to write when you're in a different headspace, and you can really tell how different the sections of the song are, but I'm glad that you can hear that, in the.
So you went to work and you demoed these songs, and I think that, after, the pandemic hit, a lot of people are like, well, reduced opportunity here. We're in our basement. We're just going to do what we can, and then you just throw it out into the world or whatever. Mm-hmm. Really, was impressed that you had these songs, and you really wanted to do right by them, and instead of just accepting that this was a pandemic record, you said you'd never recorded outside of Kansas City, and it's like, let's take a swing and go find a producer that we really respect and try and do the songs justice. Yeah, we felt strongly about this batch of songs, and like, again, like I think it's because we had so much time to really dedicate to them that they became even more attached to them, and also there was no rush to put it out, you know what I mean? We didn't feel like this urgency, and it was like more, how can we do this the way we've always wanted to do this, and so fortunately a friend of ours, who she's a mastering engineer, she hooked us up with her friend who is a producer, and he's worked on some records that we absolutely love, and it just worked out timing wise for us to go out and record with him. So I mean, So you're talking about Kevin Ratterman, and he has worked with My Morning Jacket, and Ray LaMontagne. But I think even more importantly, he's worked with Heartless Bastards, and
Right.
you are a huge Erica Wennerstrom fan.
Exactly. Yes, that was a big plus for me. Yes, I love Heartless Bastards and love Erica. I love her songwriting, and I've always I like their albums a lot. Like I love their new one, which Kevin did. So it just sort of fit. Like it was just like the timing of it all and the sound, the songs, everything just came together, and we actually did get to see Erica at that studio, which is kind of this crazy story, but she was there the last couple of days we were recording for some other reason. She's friends with Kevin, they're buddies, and she was just coming by to crash, and Kevin was like, oh, just FYI, my friend Erica's coming by to crash the last couple of days you guys are here. And I was just like, my totally like, I was like, okay, I'll be cool. Let me just pick my chin up real quick. Yeah, no, I'll be cool. But yeah, we got to just kick it on the couch with her in our pajamas and chat about her new video. And she's so cool and down to earth. I was like, is this happening right now? 'Cause she's like my Beyonce. You know what I mean?
So did you like? I mean, okay, I'm just living vicariously through you, But it's like, man, did you think about grabbing her and pulling her into the studio?
No, at that point, yes, I would love to, absolutely, I would do that in a heartbeat. But yeah, we were so close to being done. I think at that point, we were just adding in some of the final like percussive layers and textures and stuff by that time, but I would love to do that at some point.
Yeah.
Put that out into the universe.
Yeah. So you spent 10 days in LA at the studio, and you actually stayed at the studio. So it was a pretty immersive experience. Yeah,
it was nice. And the studio, it was so cool. The whole house was kind of set up to be the studio. So there's like the main recording room, but there was equipment all throughout, and we recorded bass in the living room. There's timpani and vibraphone in the living room, and all these old synths and a Leslie and all, just all kinds of fun stuff. It was such a fun studio, and to just be able to stay there and like be able to like, it's like we never turned off the creative button because we didn't have to. It was like, okay, we're going to bed. We'll wake up and we'll start again at like 10 tomorrow or whenever. And
it must be great to be a producer and have that excuse to just have all those toys.
Yeah.
You should call yourself a producer and start buying stuff.
Yeah. We kind of started that. No, our basement's getting, pretty full.
So did Kevin push you?
Huh?
Did Kevin push you?
Yes. In like a really good, like natural way though. I think in a way that like felt like, it feels really normal to move in this direction. He was very respectful, in his approach to making suggestions for songs and making suggestions for sound ideas and different production techniques and stuff, because a lot of what we did with him was pretty new for both of us, but we learned so much from working with him, really, and we'd do it again if.
Yeah, I think that just by now everybody's got the fact that this is a really personal record for you. And I'm thinking particularly about Harsh Realization. Mm-hmm. When you go into the studio to do that vocal, to really do that vocal, you kind of have to put yourself back in that moment. And I'm sure that there were some emotional moments in the studio.
Yeah, you do have to do that when you're recording. Even vocal takes are hugely important. I do that with like guitar solos, and I think we both do it with every track that we layer in, but it's part of the process, really. I think it's part of it to make it like as real and genuine as you can make it, because it's like some of these songs, they came about a couple years before we finally got to record the record. So you just gotta like open up and kind of like let the floodgates open, and it's what makes, I think, the best recordings. If you can get the emotion right, that's ultimately, I think, and you have to feel, yeah, fortunately, this studio felt like just very, very cozy and comfortable, and that's really important to feel like you can open up in a
Yeah.
space. So,
Well, we sure have enjoyed you opening up with us today here. We'd love to have one more song if we could.
yes, thank you for having us.
I want to be set in stone again. The feeling of being so broken in. Taking the time to remember when we're the place to lean up against. A backdrop that made some sense. And our space and time open. Turn my head straight, I try. I bend my neck. I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm listening. Never thought I would feel so displaced, uncomfortable with the taste of the open range I face. I need to be set in stone again. The feeling of being so broken in, and I say, and time open. Turn my head straight, I try. I bend my neck. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Thanks, guys.
Katy and Stephanie, Katy Guillen, and The Drive, the new album Another one, Gained, is out Friday. The album release show is a week from Friday, August 26th at Knuckleheads. It'll be a 4-piece on that night with Kat King doing keys, guitars, also background vocals, Michelle Bacon on bass, and Heidi Gluck opening. And it's a brilliant record. I did want to mention the fact that the video that we were talking about earlier, Bottom of Your Belly, is out now. And so our own Thelma and Louise, the closest they come really to going over that cliff is the album artwork. The album artwork is so lovely. It just looks like you're close to that chasm.
Right.
Yeah.
Sitting right on the edge there.
Yeah. So I cannot recommend this album highly enough. It's, as I said earlier, the most personal and the most fully realized music to date. Thank you both so much for coming and joining us today on The Bridge.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Katy Guillen and The Drive.
Thank you.